First up, I want to go across to Karti Chidambaram, Congress MP, joining us. Karti, thanks a lot for speaking to me on Plain Speak. Congratulations on taking your oath again as the parliamentarian today. And with that, I just want to dive in.
Thank you.
To what we're witnessing. We hoped that there could be some consensus building, but that's not to be the case. And I'm sure you're aware of what the NDA is saying, that the opposition is trying to dictate terms to them. You know, the whole thing about how they wanted to decide on the deputy speaker's name, as NDA alleges, even as the speaker was being discussed. Go ahead.
See, the point is the NDA must read the mandate of the people of India correctly, and they must act responsibly. The mandate is not for the NDA to have a free pass. The mandate is not for the NDA to run a government, definitely not for the BJP to run a government by diktat of 1.5 people. There has to be consensus, there has to be discussion. And the onus of building consensus is with the government. And the government was churlish and petty in denying Mr. Suresh, an 8-term MP, an honorific post of pro-tem speaker, which really has no power, just for 2 days to swear in the members. Even that was denied. Then secondly, if you really want to build consensus and you want a functioning parliament and you want a dialogue with a sizable bloc, we are not a small bloc anymore, we are 230 plus, at least the deputy speaker's post should have been offered. Since none of it is being offered, you are pushing us to a corner, so we are forced to have a contest. We are very, very realistic, we know what the numbers are, but we still need to prove a point by saying that we shall have a contest because the government is unwilling to build a consensus.
Can I ask you, the second charge against the opposition bloc is that you raise convention, particularly the Congress party, as per convenience. I listed out the states where the opposition is in power, including the state that you come from, Tamil Nadu.
I heard you.
No such convention is being followed for the opposition there.
You see, this is complete whataboutery. You know, every time you raise something, they'll always go back to the past or point out to another incident. The point is, we are here right now. We have the mandate from the people is for a collective, congenial kind of an atmosphere, which has to be built around this parliament and this government. But the government is unwilling to do that. What has changed in this government? They have not even changed the ministers. The ministers are the same people in the same portfolios. And they have put the same candidate for a speaker as well. So what is going to change? Nothing is going to change. They somehow believe that they have been given a mandate to continue what they have been doing. That is not the case. They have been defeated in their own citadel of Ayodhya. I mean, it was their crowning glory of their entire political movement for the last 30-40 years.
But that's not an answer to the fact that convention then should be followed by all sides. Why not follow it in states if you want it to be followed as a courtesy at the
the government now
centers?
Start leading it. I mean, you are now saying that you're a global leader. Start by leading by example. Start building the consensus. Then you will have the moral right to point out where this kind of precedence and this kind of convention is not followed. Why can't they do that? What has this government done which is different from the last time? They're still trying to run a bulldozer government, which won't really happen because the numbers are not, we won't allow them to run a bulldozer government, but they're attempting to run a bulldozer government all over again.
That was going to be my final question to you.
What has changed in the attitude?
No, as far as them continuing ministers, etc. is concerned, obviously that's for the BJP or the NDA to answer. But the question that would be in the minds of the public is, are we in for a more, a confrontational parliament, given, the strength of the opposition bloc that you've pointed out to? Is that going to lead to more work and possibly healthier debate, or is that going to lead to more disruptions?
The onus is completely with the government and with the new speaker. In the last parliament, which I was part of as well, not one adjournment motion was allowed, which means we had no right to pick the agenda which could be debated upon. Let us see what the attitude is going to be. If they're going to continue with exactly the same attitude and style and tenor of the 17th Lok Sabha, you will exactly have the same results as the 17th Lok Sabha all over again in the 18th Lok Sabha.
I want to ask you about that mandate you talked about. You're saying the mandate is not this, the mandate is this. The NDA, completely disagrees with it. You may have heard some statements. They say the mandate is not with the opposition either. They should not act like they can dictate what the government of the day does. Fundamentally, the majority is with the NDA today.
I agree they have the majority. That's why they have formed government. Otherwise, we would have formed government, and we would have had a prime minister of our choice. I mean, I agree that the numbers are with them, but the numbers also are not in their favor in terms of running a bulldozer government. The people of India want them to build a consensus. The parliament is almost evenly stacked up, and they must respect that mandate and have a dialogue. And they are not even willing to cede something as symbolic as a pro tem speaker. Can you imagine? I mean, is that statesmanship? Is that a government which actually wants to build bridges with the opposition? You couldn't even give a position which was only ceremonial for 2 days. I mean, they are so petty that they won't even withhold that. And then you say that we are misleading the mandate and we're being hard-nosed about it. The give has to be from them. They have to give. They are in a position to give, and they have to give.
They have to give, you're saying, they have to make the gesture. Can I just also ask you, this whole thing about rules versus convention is the debate these days, both on the pro tem speaker issue and also on the issue of the deputy speaker. While there is no rule that dictates that it should happen in a certain manner, the Congress or the opposition has been claiming convention. The BJP has just a short while ago pointed out at history of how the first opposition deputy speaker came to be. That was done more as a, as a tactic to bring an adversary on board by Jawaharlal Nehru than anything else. That quote-unquote convention started only as realpolitik, as they say.
Perhaps, but that's how conventions are formed. I mean, how do conventions happen? I mean, you covered sport. I mean, there are certain gestures and habits which become conventions in sport. If you have a lead cord in tennis, you always put your hand up. There's no rule which says that you put your hand up when you win a point on a lead cord, right? But you still put your hand up. And that's considered polite behavior in tennis, isn't it? You cover tennis, you know that. That's how it is. It's how, actions which are repeated, which are respected, become conventions and which are followed all the time. I mean, what is the give this government has done after not getting, they have come down. Their mandate has come down from the last time. And what have they learned from that? What is their understanding of this mandate? Is it business as usual? That's not the mandate they've got.
And the opposition will continue to remind them of that.
They will. Of course, we will remind them. It's our job to remind them. We will remind them. The people of India have given us a responsibility of acting as a counterbalance in parliament and as a counterweight to the government. That's exactly the mandate they have given us. They have not given us the mandate to rule India. I agree with that. But they have also given us a mandate to act as a counterweight.
Okay. Okay. All right. I do appreciate Karti Chidambaram for joining us. Let's wait and see what the tone and tenor of the new parliament session is going to be in the new Lok Sabha as discussions, debates start. But of course, before that is the election to the speaker and possibly an election to the deputy speaker that follows too.